Hello and welcome to another video. So when I was younger, I probably had some sort of belief that you to be sort of taken seriously, you had to be a professional musician, and there was some sort of like mystique, or professional musician being like a special kind of status. And I think I probably felt that at times people would dismiss what you were doing because you weren't a professional musician. It was a label that was important and that you needed to sort of strive for. And if you didn't have that label, if you were not a professional musician, then what you're doing is not worthwhile. So in this video, I would like to discuss this a little bit more, and the idea of professional versus amateur. But before we do that, I would just invite you to hit the subscribe button if you are somebody who watches these videos and you are enjoying the content. And perhaps this is your first time here today, and in which case, thank you for clicking on the thumbnail. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Richard. I make videos about modular synth and creativity and music and so on. And I thank you for coming along and tuning in today. So, professional. What does it mean to be professional? Well, I guess we all kind of have an idea, don't we, of what the word professional means. But what does it really mean? And is it something that we should be striving for? Is it something that you should strive for as a musician? Does it make you more valid or more worthwhile if you are a professional musician? Well, I guess in this day and age, to be professional means that you earn your living from that thing. And it doesn't matter what you are, whether you are a professional musician or a professional electrician or a professional, darts player or a professional plumber. It is your profession, that is what you do, and you earn your living from it, as opposed to somebody who is an amateur. And in this day and age, we often associate the word amateur with somebody who is less capable, is not going to produce a similar level of quality to somebody who is professional. And so, there is definitely this association with the word amateur, meaning bad, and professional is good. But if we look at the two words, professional and amateur, what do they actually mean? Where do they come from? So professional, I had to look this up, and I used Wikipedia for that. So the word professional, I can't remember the Latin for it now, but it basically means to profess, to state something, to say, here I am, this is what I do. So it's basically, it comes from, I guess, as in historical times, as people became more niched or specific with their skills, they had to state what it was that they were doing in order to engage with customers and so on, rather than just being sort of a general labourer or worker or whatever. And that idea of professing, this is who I am and this is what I do. If you need these services, you can come to me. That is the origins of the word professional, and that has, been extended over time, and now we have professional associations and bodies and organisations that you can join if you are a professional person doing whatever you're doing. And that's it basically. So a professional person is somebody who states, this is what I'm doing. Okay, now as I say, in the modern day, it's come to mean somebody that earns a living, and we might associate certain professional standards with people, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. You're going to do it to a high level of quality. You're going to be reliable, trustworthy, all the rest of it. Okay, and from that we then have the word professionalism, which is really, I guess, a state of mind, or a way of behaving more than anything. So what does the word amateur mean? Well, amateur originally means or comes from the Latin word for lover. And if you are somebody who is an amateur, you are really doing something for the love of it. So the often in the past, people who were labelled as amateurs were people who, met for whatever reason, they would have time to devote to some subject or skill or whatever, purely for the love of doing it. No intention of being paid, no intention of earning any money, no comment on the quality of what they were doing, whether it was good or bad, but they were just going to do that thing for the love of it. And in fact, sort of from the 17th century onwards, we had the rise of what was called the gentleman amateur. And these were individuals, as the phrase would suggest, men, I guess. I'm sure that there were lady gentlemen amateurs as well, but I don't know what they were called. Lady amateurs? But these were people who, undertook to sort of further their own knowledge of the world around them and so on, and to spread that amongst others. And certain societies were set up where they could share this knowledge. And so people like Isaac Newton were considered a gentleman amateur, and a lot of the great scientists of that period, 18th, 19th century and so on, were in fact amateurs. And a lot of the knowledge that was discovered through those times and pushed the human race forward was done so by amateur people. And then of course, if you think in terms of sports, the Olympic Games was something, or well, still is, that is for amateur sports people. And there's no suggestion here that there's a lesser quality to the skills that these people have. These people are purely doing these things for the love of what they're doing. Now, the difference, I suppose, may be that over time, I guess, as modern life changes the way that people live their lives and so on, people have got less time to devote to amateur pursuits. And so somebody who is going to who is going to study something in an amateur way, they haven't got the time to put into that in the same way that somebody who might be doing it professionally. If you are a professional footballer, then you will spend the majority of your time training and practicing and playing football, and you will become highly skilled at that because that's what you do all of the time. If you're an amateur footballer, then it doesn't mean to say that you're any less capable, but you won't have the time to put into that pursuit in the same way as a professional person might. If you did have the time, then you may well achieve a similar level of success, whatever that means. Okay, so what I'd really sort of like us to sort of think about is this idea that amateur doesn't mean that you are somebody who is lesser, that you're less skilled or anything like that, but that if you're an amateur person, you are somebody who is exploring whatever it is that you're pursuing for the love of it, and to learn more about that thing and to share that with other people. And I think that is a perfect way of describing how a lot of modular synth artists operate. A lot of modular synth people, at all sorts of levels, really are amateur modular synth artists, and they are creating amazing, stunning, groundbreaking work with no expectation of fame and fortune and all the rest of it, but purely for the love of it and to expand the art, and push boundaries and so on. And maybe at some point, you may be able to start earning money from that, and then all of a sudden you are labelled a professional. But actually, what has changed between the person who was the amateur and the person who was the professional? Nothing really has changed, other than now this person is being paid for it for whatever reason, and they weren't before. And I'm sure that there are many professional musicians who really and truthfully, that professional opportunity is kind of like is a side effect of their true goal, which is to actually do this thing because you've got no choice really, because it's in you, and you kind of need to do it. You need to pursue it. And I guess a lot of musicians and artists are like that. You have this kind of feeling, don't you, that it doesn't matter whether you can get paid or not. You are going to do this thing because it is important to you. It's as important maybe as breathing or eating or drinking or whatever. So if you are somebody out there right now who is patching your modular synth because you just love it and you would do it anyway, irrespective of, well, you are doing it anyway, irrespective of any monetary reward, then please say hello in the comments. This video really is devoted to all the amateur people out there that are doing great things with their modular synth. And of course there are many benefits to being an amateur musician, because if you have found a way that you can do your music and you can share it, then you are free from any sort of commercial pressures. You can explore and innovate whatever you want. You don't have to, there's no sort of deadlines that you have to adhere to. You don't have to stick to a certain lane and then you've got to keep doing that one thing, because you can do whatever you want. It's totally up to you. And quite often, musical evolution, if we want to call it that, the boundaries that are pushed forward comes from passionate outsiders, passionate amateurs, and it's not driven by market powers or whatever. Those things come later. They see something that people are interested in and they latch onto that. That's another topic, I guess. But even if you are an amateur person, you can still operate professionally in terms of having a professional mindset, and you can still be consistent. You can still care about what you do. You can still make sure that you're showing up and doing what you need to do, even though you're not getting paid. You can still protect what you want to do, and it's still important. So I'd just like to end this video today. It's a little bit of a shorter video, but yeah, I'd just like to end this video today by just saying, we don't need permission to be successful. We don't need permission to be the best that is out there. If you are an amateur musician, if you're an amateur modular synth person, if you love what you do and you're already living the truest form of that and being an artist, then you just got to keep doing that and keep making your music, keep exploring, and that is enough. That's all we need, really. So thank you for watching. As I say, it's a bit of a shorter video today. Thank you for watching, but I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that maybe it just spurs some people on to to value themselves a little bit more, perhaps. If you have enjoyed the video, then please do hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Cheerio.